Storm couldn't stop America 250 celebrations. Our very own Dana Perino taking shelter with veterans as thunderstorms rolled through the Capitol. But they didn't let a little bad weather dampen the celebration with one of the most dazzling fireworks displays in American history. Democrats, on the other hand, they didn't need a storm to rain on America's parade. Here's Chuck Todd crying like a little baby, blaming President Trump for spoiling the 4th.
For some people, the central text in their lives is religious, and I respect that. For me, the Constitution has always carried that kind of weight. So that's why I'm so angry and feel betrayed. I do. I feel betrayed as an American by him on this. Not because I love the country less, but because I love the idea of America enough to resent seeing it cheapened by this man. America deserved better at 250. Donald Trump has ruined the American brand and the American birthday celebration.
And celebrities like Mark Ruffalo passed on the beach and the barbecue to spend their 4th reading from a book on tyranny.
Do not obey in advance.
Beware of the one-party state.
Investigate.
Make eye contact and small talk.
Establish a private life.
Be courageous.
That's it. Oh, who do we want to start with? What celebrities? How about bouncy Chuck Todd, Dana?
Yeah, that was weird. Can I just tell you about Saturday night just a little bit? So we were on air ready to do the coverage, but then there wasn't a weather delay because of rain. People can handle rain. It was a lightning. So we evacuate. We go to this trailer. We nicknamed it the Freedom Bunker. And I was the first one in, and I walk in, and here's all the heroes. 11 of them, ages 99 to 107.
Unbelievable.
From the Best Defense Foundation.org, BDF.org, brought all of them. They had just taken many of them to Normandy. The idea of BDF is they take the veterans to their last battle. Mm-hmm. And that way, it's Joe, you could probably speak to this, but it's very healing for them, like a full circle moment. And I didn't know that the president was going to have them in the speech. The most patient people in the room were those guys. And this photograph right here was shared with us by Freedom 250. And that's all of the veterans watching the fireworks from their own memorial. A memorial that was actually quite controversial to get built. And I loved those guys. That was the best thing that ever happened to me on a 4th of July, is to spend it with them. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I absolutely love them. So we just got our cameras out. The Wi-Fi worked. We were able to get on air. Harris was interviewing the a cappella singers that were there. Brian Kilmeade sat with a veteran who sang "God Bless America" to everybody. It was incredible. So then, and challenging. The heat was punishing. The weather was difficult. But when those fireworks started, I know I will never see anything that spectacular again in my life. Unbelievable. Absolutely beautiful, incredible. So I'm watching this, and I'm trying to put myself in Chuck Todd's shoes, not directly.
Very bouncy shoes.
I don't want not the bouncy shoes. And I don't see how President Trump could have ruined your 4th of July, unless you choose to be dour, unhappy, and if you choose to live that way and to only look at the glass half empty, maybe you could get there, but. To me, that means that I don't talk about TDS too often, but it seems to me that it is alive and well in his brain.
Absolutely, Joey. There was a recent survey, we talked about it on the air on different shows here. The Democrats not proud to be Americans, 92% of Republicans proud to be an American, right? And then I looked back. I said, I got to find that same poll in 2012, right in the middle of the Obama era, right? Democrats, 75% proud to be an American then. Republicans, 92, the exact same number. Does that surprise you?
Well, for one, 2012, is that what we said? That was a generation ago at this point. Things change so much. No, it doesn't surprise me, though, because I think that there's a certain, like Democrats have relinquished patriotism to Republicans, and then they say that Republicans have hijacked it in some way. It's not the Republican Party espousing views for socialism and communism. It's not the Republican Party saying, and Jessica, I will allow that this isn't every Democrat or even the mainstream, but it's not the Republican Party saying that we are colonizers and that we are oppressors and that our country is inherently evil, not just for its original sin, but from before its founding through today. That is a Democrat Party talking point. Rather they put it front and center at a convention, or they allow the periphery of the party to say it in colleges and places of that nature. It's a part of the Democrat platform. It's how they woo young voters, and it's incredibly important right now to them with Democrat socialists, i.e. communists, coming on board and gaining momentum. One thing I will say, Dana, is, I kind of am jealous of those World War II veterans or even Vietnam veterans, because if you took me to my last battle, it would be my next battle. Thanks, Biden. Anyway, so then, so at least, they can do that, and there's some healing there. But with all that being said, listen, no matter who they are, no matter what they believe, no matter how purple their hair is, or how much of a tackle box is hanging from their face, or what their T-shirt says, no matter how lost to this ideology you may think they are, if they are young, they're still reachable. They still have a lifetime of experiences to go out and do. Don't shun them. Don't cuss at them. Don't create arguments with them, especially if they're in your family and friend group. Love on them and show them the way. Tell them how amazing freedom is and capitalism is and what a beautiful country this is. Bring them to grandpa that's a World War II veteran. Bring them to the uncle that's the Vietnam veteran that has fought and suffered so much to protect this country, and show them the way. They're still reachable, and that's a good 4th of July week message.
That's a sweet thing to say.
Don't let them be lost.
Truly beautiful. Jessica, don't Democrats spend too much time thinking about Trump? I mean, this is why you had so many Democrats saying they were not proud to be an American, because they go to bed thinking about Trump. They wake up thinking about him. Chuck Todd, he can't stop thinking about Trump.
Well, Trump also can't stop talking, and we can't stop covering him. So it's in our faces. But that the news cycle is different than it ever was before. 2016 changed that. And for whatever reason, some of it is actually legitimate news that needs to be covered, and some of it is just to keep people, clicking the algorithm juicing, and to keep our attention, and then you can put more ads on, and you can do all the stuff, right? And we're all hooked on it, the good and the bad, right? The outrage with Trump works both ways. He is the most animating factor. He's a turnout machine in both directions. Yeah. And so everyone is benefiting from it. I thought that some of the scenes from the 4th of July were just gorgeous. What Dana is talking about, looking at those veterans, I saw many hundreds of thousands of people turn out, which is different from during the week. Obviously, people wanted to be there for the 4th. They wanted to come and see Donald Trump's speech. I do think, though, that having Freedom 250 versus America 250 was, I would say, a mistake, but it was definitely a choice that Donald Trump made and then allowed for people to say he's taking over the 4th of July. When you have a bipartisan group that is in charge of the holiday, and then you do your own thing, which is very much in service to you, and your speech is laced with patriotism about honoring our heroes and NASA, but also with attacks against your political opponents, which the socialists and communists, he's talking about us, right? It's not an amorphous thing. He's talking about his political enemies, and you're talking about the Save America Act, and that if you just get it passed.
But if you took the Save America Act out, I don't think it was that political. But what you just said is that it goes back to the A block. If he's targeting you, are you the socialists and the communists? He's making a distinction for you. You guys should take him up on it.
Well, I believe that I have. I'm a big believer in capitalism.
Well, you just said that he's attacking his political enemies. Like, if that's not you, if you're not the socialists and the communists, and they're aside, then he's not attacking you.
He is attacking people who are members of my political party writ large.
Well,
they're Democratic Socialists.
That goes back to the A block then.
But that is politics, because we're going to go vote in November for the midterms and again in 2028. And it is the same attack line that they've been using forever, where they just say, we're the ones who believe in capitalism. And these yahoos over here, who, by the way, it gets worse than just, calling us communists. You talk about the name calling and asking us about our patriotism. He regularly calls Democrats traitors and scum.
You're talking about that night and that speech, and he didn't do that in that speech.
Well, I think that, I guess I take it personally.
Right, and then again, that's a choice. And the choice is, if you are not a socialist, or if I were a Democrat, if I were Kim Jeffries or Chuck Schumer, I'd be like, damn right, sir. That's right. We're not for communism and we're not for socialism, and take them up on it and run with it. Instead, say, why are you attacking us? These are people in our party. And if that's the case, then they're in your party. And so when Harold or you say, well, they're not really a part of the party, I'm like, well, I don't think we can say that anymore.
Socialists are, but communists are not. And people have said Daria Lisa doesn't have a place in it. And I would also say, past 4th of July celebrations, when like Obama and Biden, they would do it on the South Lawn, have 5,000 people. There would be military members and service members, turning it into what is a rally. The same thing happened at the Teddy Roosevelt at the library there, where he also talked about the Save America Act and that Republicans wouldn't lose an election for 100 years is inherently politicizing.
And he's going to be president for 100 years.
It feels like that.
They're going to reanimate him. He's going to live. He's Lazarus. He's never going away. You'll have to force him out with tanks and generals and smelling salts, and he's still going to stay, and he's still going to be president. And J.D. Vance is his love child. Like, you know, these are all the things that Democrats torture themselves with, and it's a losing proposition. This is why socialists are winning. This is why socialists/communists are winning, because Democrats have ceded all the territory to being terrified of Donald Trump, who is not going to be president after 2 years. He will no longer be president. But that's all you can talk about. That's all you can think about. That's all you hyperfixate on. And I was wondering when this was going to manifest, because I knew this was secretly driving them crazy, that he gets to be president during 250, which is a big deal. That's why you don't have it on the South Lawn. You have it as big as possible with as many fireworks and as many veterans watching in these phenomenal places, creating pictures that you cannot replicate under any circumstances ever again. And that's great. That's what 250 should be. Go big or go home. Guess what? This is your home, and we love you here. To Joey's point, if you disagree with us, America is still an awesome place, and it's an awesome place for you. And guess what? You have the opportunity to make it even better. And if you don't want to think about Trump, don't think about Trump. Right. Stay off social media. We went to a Yankees game. There was some horrible baseball, but my goodness, the veterans, the flags, the YMCA, it was all there, and no one was talking about Trump. Right. And I looked like a rodeo clown, and it was one of the best days of my life. Outside of politics completely, you can do it. I believe in you.
You can do it, America.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.